I'm Taggart.
And I'm Wittert. Lawyers at Law.
If I'm wearing glasses, my political career is in the garbage.
Yeah, I agree. She looks great and she's trash.
Why are we doing this?
It's an ancient Yiddish proverb. It means don't hold on to your dreams.
No, I get what it is, but why?
Live from my grandmother's basement, we continue to be the only Chris Gethard Presents podcast. We are Trash People. I am Emily Pineapple.
And I'm Forrest, the keeper of the Canon.
And each week we talk about the people who are going to host that week's episode of Chris Gethard Presents. And it's also Super Monday, which means It's the Monday after the Super Bowl. So unfortunately, we're a little low energy. And I wish we were higher energy.
Yeah, because these performers are very high energy and deserve our best.
They do. We are talking today about the Chaos King himself, Sam Taggart, Chef Taggart, from that episode with Joe Rumrell and Rachel Pegram.
That would be Chemistry Class, which was an early episode of CGP.
And Max Wittert, who was he answered advice to us, correct?
He was on Josh Sharp's episode on the show What's the Matter with White People.
Yes.
That was of the three talk shows, that was the one that Max hosted and had salad and tote bags galore.
And I want to rewatch that episode now, knowing so much more about him as a performer. I feel like I will enjoy that performance like 1,000 times more. Not that it wasn't enjoyable when I was watching it, just that like now that I have seen him be himself many places, just like refusing to answer people's questions and like continuing to order a salad and being really bitchy about it.
Yeah, I loved that character immediately, but I think it will be funnier seeing how much it reflects a lot of his onstage persona in a lot of the places he shows up.
It is. And before we get started talking about this episode, we have a correction to issue. Corrections. A dear member of the Discord informed us that on a previous episode, we referenced the Night Vale creator, Jeffrey Craner. We called him Jeffrey Kramer, as in Kramer versus Kramer. I don't know what that is.
It's a movie about a divorced couple, a couple getting a divorce, and how hard it is for the family and the child involved to see the parents fighting. And their last name, they're both Kramer, so it's Kramer versus Kramer because it's the family being divided.
So it has nothing to do with Seinfeld.
No, it's not that Kramer.
We have Divorce Story now. Now Adam Driver's doing it. No one can give a fuck about that.
You mean Marriage Story?
Yes. They get a divorce though, right?
Yeah, divorce. It really is more of a divorce story.
Honestly, like they're just throwing us for a loop. But you know who loves throwing us for loops? Jeffrey Craner.
Yes.
One of the creators of Night Vale. Welcome to Night Vale. If we get people's names wrong, please God tell us. Like, please tell me. I habitually get people's names wrong. I will just insert different last names for them, and I would like to not do that. It's very disrespectful, and so I would love to be able to correct that when it happens.
Yeah, no, definitely send it in. We would like to get people's names right out of, as you said, respect.
Yes. And today, the names that we are getting correct are Mr. Sam Taggart and Max Wittert.
Yes.
Who I had only been Googling as Matt Wittert for a little while and getting very confused. But this is episode 401, Taggart and Wittert, Lawyers at Law, February 5th, 2020. And we have a pretty all-star cast.
It's a definite cast of all-stars, including Sam Taggart, as mentioned, was Chef Taggart on Chemistry Class, but he was also Roger on Enchanted Pumice.
He has done a lot of things with Mary Houlihan.
Yes.
We talked about him actually in Mary Houlihan's episode because they did a show for the Comedy Central Corporate Retreat.
Yeah.
Which is on YouTube, and you can watch it.
And he also wrote for one of her live shows, one of her one-woman shows as well, and even appeared on it in the intermission in the version that you can see online.
So you can both pretend to be like a cool New York, like, art goer socialite, like watching these one-woman shows, and someone who works at Comedy Central. Live that fantasy, friends. Live it. That's what YouTube is for.
And Sam Taggart also appeared on multiple episodes of The Special without Brett Davis, including The Chris Gethard Show and Hee Haw Gay, which we watched for this very episode of the podcast.
And everyone should watch. Like, it should be required viewing, to be perfectly honest.
Like, it was admittedly pitched right at me for reasons we'll get into later, but it's worth seeing for everyone.
We had no idea.
No.
We had no motherfucking idea how amazing it was going to be. He appeared in and wrote for Mary Houlihan's Live and Good.
He appeared in the Lost 2016 Chris Gethard election special.
He was on Los Spookies, where he played JJ.
And he hosts the weekly live comedy show Bright Horizons with Joe Rumrill, Mary Houlihan, and Eliza Hurwitz, who appeared on Enchanted Pumice as Lizette and was on The Little Green Guys as one of the hosts from the station across the street that loves salamanders and turtles.
And, of course, our next top billed individual is Max Wittert. He previously appeared, of course, on Josh Sharp's episode talking about the problem with white people, salad.
He appeared in High Maintenance as Tommy and Art School Kid 1.
What's High Maintenance?
It's a show it's a cool success story because it started out as just a Vimeo video show and then eventually made the jump to HBO.
Oh, shit.
And it follows various people ordering weed and the only recurring character is the weed delivery guy.
Oh, shit. I saw commercials for this. I had no idea it was on Vimeo. Who the fuck does a thing that's on Vimeo and then HBO buys it? Is this the only one where that's ever happened?
I think.
Because it has to happen like at least once, right?
No.
That's incredible. Holy shit.
I think that Awkward. I think The Misadventures of an Awkward Black Girl YouTube or Vimeo?
YouTube.
Okay, so that was YouTube. So then High Maintenance may be the only one that's specifically Vimeo. They both made the jump to cable, I think, at around the same time. Like, I remember it being in that initial rush after House of Cards to get web things.
Well, they did a good job snapping up those individuals. And he was also on 5 episodes of The Special, including Hee Haw Gay. And then someone else very special is on this episode.
Yes, Aaron Jackson, who is a writer and performer for the National Lampoon Radio Hour.
And is in Fuck This Shit.
And is in Fuck This Shit with Drew Johnston and Don Finelli.
It's a YouTube team. It is an improv team you can watch do things on YouTube with varying degrees of good audio.
Yeah, and it's really cool to get to see people who are that good at improv doing it live. Like, they're such a solid team, and so getting to watch them over time, because you don't usually get like years of improv performances from a single team that's that great
that you just get to see. Like, you go to an improv show, you go to another improv show. Like who goes to like every improv show of like a single group? I don't know, maybe people who do improv, but we don't very much. I see a lot of students doing improv, and I got to tell you, this is way better.
And then he also is a frequent collaborator, Aaron Jackson, that is, with Josh Sharp, early CGP host.
Oh, which is very exciting. The next person is Eudora Peterson, and Eudora was on an episode of The Next Big Thing. Yeah,
which is a show that Sam hosted and co-hosted an episode of, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more later on. Eudora was also on an episode of The Special without Brett Davis called The Magic Awards.
Ooh. We have Ike
Ufamadu.
Thank you so much. Ufamadu?
I think so.
All right.
I apologize.
Please tell us how to say these people's names, because Ike's fucking amazing.
I apologize if I am, but he is amazing. He was the meats guy on the first episode of CGP.
He's on all these motherfucking episodes of The Special. I'll be like cleaning or like cooking or something in the kitchen, and like I'll just hear his voice like from the TV. Like, everything else will just be like, you know, background noise, and then all of a sudden like his like resonant silky voice will like pierce through the air, and I'm like, oh, ribbit. Yeah, ribbit.
As you mentioned, he was the ribbit crooner on Little Green Guys. That was just so good. And he's also on an episode of the CGP podcast with Gethard,
Yeah.
where him and Connor do acting exercises with 90s song lyrics.
Oh, yeah. That was amazing.
And it's one of my favorite moments in the history of that podcast.
And the next individual that we have is Mo Fry Pasek, who is a New York City-based comedian who frequently collaborates with Cartoon Monsoon's Tim Platt.
Yes.
Tim Platt, who's Puppet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tim
it's a
Platt
puppet.
plays Puppet in Cartoon Monsoon,
Yeah.
and Puppet is a puppet.
Yeah, and she was on 15 episodes of the special without Brett Davis, including one which is an adaptation of Plastic and Platt.
And Pasek and Platt is a show where they blend stand-up and serious theater together. So I haven't seen if these are online yet, but I
Whoa.
want to try to find them. I mean, I guess I want to see that episode of the special for sure, but I'd love to see multiples of that because that sounds
That's
like
some next level shit.
yeah, and it's that combination of theater and stand-up that is very New York
Oh,
to me.
yeah.
At least it seems like that all the way over here.
Seems like that from this side of the coast. So Sam and Max have previously performed Taggart and Wittert, Lawyers at Law, live at Union Hall and at Ars Nova.
Yes.
I love how I feel like at this point, I can very convincingly lie about like this incredible like art critic career that I have in New York City. Have you seen these individuals at Ars Nova? Well, you probably haven't heard of them. It was at Union Hall that I saw them perform.
Well, and these venues have come up so much in our research.
Yes.
Because like I'm Christy Bitch.
Yeah.
Was at Nars Nova.
Oh, yeah.
The CGP All Stars are at Union Hall.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
If anyone is going to New York and they're like, what stand-up venue should I go to? It's like, well, I actually now have a list.
Bitches, we know. We have not been there, but we fucking know. So the description of this show is Taggart and Wittert, Lawyers at Law. It's a classic legal drama about high-performing attorney duo whose 100% winning streak is thrown off course by mysterious forces.
Follow Taggart, played by Sam Taggart, and Wittert, played strangely by Max Wittert, as they navigate the cutthroat contours of the courtroom. That's it.
Did you typo that?
No, Google typoed that. I think Google autocorrected it. That is, if it pleases the court. See you in court. Court.
This live version, it included a lot of CGP alums, including Carmen Christopher, Eliza Hurwitz, Rachel Cayley, Lorelai Ramirez, who was all over Sam Wittert's shit.
Yeah, no.
Oh,
no, you mean Max
damn.
Wittert.
Max Wittert's. Fuck
You
me.
mashed them up together.
This is going to happen constantly.
Oh, yeah.
This is going to happen constantly.
But yeah,
all over Max Wittert's shit.
Yeah.
We went down a whole Lorelai Ramirez YouTube like dump.
Yeah, they have some great stuff.
They are motherfucking Rod Sterling.
Yeah, like some of their stuff it's very Twilight Zone. Some of it's like weirdly
it's better than Twilight Zone. It's better than Black Mirror.
That's the thing. It's like it's some of it like, oh, so that's if David Lynch decided to just do a straight up comedy, this is like a pretty good idea of that, how the tone of that would seem. Because it gets as unsettling.
Oh, it's so
but
unsettling.
is more driven at laughter.
Yeah, they occupy.
But
when we're going to have an
Lorelai-
entire episode about Lorelai, because I have so many things to say about Lorelai and the ways in which I love them, and the things that they create.
It also had Nick Nanny,
Mary Houlihan,
and Charlie Barty. And it'll be fun to see if any of them have surprise appearances, because we know Eudora, who is also on the live version, is on this episode. But it'll just be interesting to see if there's surprise cameos from anyone.
And one of these performances even included SNL's own Bowen Yang.
Yeah.
Bowen Yang, who's cool enough to be hired by SNL, but not cool enough to be mentioned by NPR when they are discussing the scandals around diversity in SNL.
And you should also listen to Bowen's podcast, La Culturistas, if you want to hear more from Bowen, obviously, but also from CGP hosts like Max Wittert
And Annie Donnelly.
Because a lot of CGP folks have made their way through the La Culturistas headquarters.
Oh, yeah. So we have a Sam Taggart's bio from the live version of Taggart and Wittert. Sam is a stand-up writer and actor living in Brooklyn. He is a creator of various live shows such as Live on Broad Gay, Sam's Big Day, and Lake Homo High. He also co-hosts the stand-up shows Future Forms and Stevie. He's had videos featured on IFC, acted on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, and was named one of Brooklyn's 50 funniest comedians by Brooklyn Magazine.
And I don't know that may be a lot of dates to definitely check out if he's still doing those shows, because Bright Horizons isn't mentioned in there. So just as a heads up.
Well, I'm sure that he's doing many more things.
No,
you only get so many characters for your bio for your own show. Ars Nova,
This was the Eventbrite page, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was filtered through Ars Nova. We know so many things about New York culture.
I'd like to talk about our first thing from New York culture and Sam Taggart's contributions to it.
Because we have 9 things.
Yes.
We have 9 things that we love about Taggart. Usually we do 15 things that we love that the host has made. We have 2 hosts this week, and we had a lot of trouble
because
narrowing it down to have like an amount from each of them, and then they were both in a bunch of shit that we loved.
And they're also both very online.
Oh my God.
Where a lot of their creativity is like across multiple forms of creativity, multiple mediums, and all online. So it's like, well, I want to like highlight all of the broad like types of things that they do. So I don't want to cut like one of the Sam songs.
Yeah.
Because that's so key. That has to be talked about, but not talked about first.
No, not first.
We're going to talk about a video made for Comedy Central Up Next, which was posted September 1st, 2018. You might remember from our Rachel Pegram episode that Up Next is a series where Comedy Central had comedians make videos that were like short little YouTube videos that they could seem like do whatever they wanted with. And Sam's is him at the bar trying to write some new material. And it's great. It's like almost the internal monologue.
But it's fun. There's like references to comedians saying they're like the new rock stars.
Yeah,
or
I love
philosophers.
That. Yeah.
Which I think, yes. I would argue yes. And I would argue at you using enough big words and with enough of a monologue that you would be like, okay, Jesus Christ.
I mean, I would certainly argue that Diogenes was kind of the stand-up comedian of his day.
But
because he peed on people.
Yeah.
And made his joke.
Slapstick. Slap dick. He did a lot of masturbating in public. But from Taggart, we get some choice lines such as, I'm a flat earther with a fat asser. Oh.
But I also love how his initial attempts to be like, I'm going to write hard-hitting, honest political comedy becomes like writing about the New York City club scene.
Which
and
is
like,
very fun.
Is this venue dead or not? And I think it's fun because I think I like how much it explores that sort of how comedy comes in all those different forms and how the like societal narrative of like, well, comedy must be like a grand statement about something.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, no, if it can also just be a really funny joke about a local scene and asses.
And a local scene, because if your joke is funny enough about a local scene, everyone's going to love it because nothing is not universal.
Yeah, because
we're all humans.
Exactly.
We're stuck. We're trapped in these human forms, just like Sam Taggart, who has a song about running into Rudolph at the gay bar.
Which is our second thing.
I love this. This was made for IFC, and it is from November 13th, 2017, featuring and written by Sam Taggart himself. Oh my God. It featured the video group Sisters Weekend, who is a Brooklyn-based video group made up of filmmaking besties, Angelo Basilone, Michael Fales, and Kat Tedesco. We saw their names on a bunch of shit as directed by Sisters Weekend.
Yeah, Sisters Weekend came up a lot during our research for
Are they all
this
dudes?
week. No.
No?
Oh.
Cool. Very cool.
No, I don't. I think Kat's not.
That's pretty cool. I mean, they could be a dude. I'm just, I like seeing ladies do things. And so when I saw Sisters Weekend, I got like excited that it was like 3 badass women.
It's not 3 badass women, but one of them is.
That's
lady.
pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah, but they directed it. And it is really well made. It's like a combination of the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer story, like a ridiculous club joke. What is this style of comedy that's like musical comedy, but it's very specifically about gay scenes and gay culture scenes? Like there's all over San Francisco as well. And it's very specific. And as humans who do not club,
I thought
or go near clubs, like it's so loud.
I
Clubs
thought you
are
were
so loud.
asking me, not using a rhetorical question, because I don't know, because I have never been to a nightclub.
No. I was wondering actually if you knew.
Oh no.
If there was a name for this like topic or style. It's very Stefan from SNL.
I mean, I'm sure there is a name, but beyond just like musical comedy and like musical storytelling song kind of, because it does take you through a whole narrative. But I don't know if there's one that's for something for that specific of it.
It features such golden motherfucking lines as you could have heard a pin drop, but we didn't. Instead, we heard the beat drop.
And that when Rudolph was dancing behind Sam, he could feel his Grinch grow 3 sizes that day.
So you all motherfuckers need to watch this.
It deserves so much more.
This belongs on
Case
K-Scum Radio.
Yeah.
In fact, we're going to make sure that it's on K-Scum Radio.
Yeah, this should be on K-Scum. You're right.
Because it's incredible and it absolutely belongs everywhere music is listened to.
And number 3 is Sam's Big Day, which is a video posted January 21st, 2016 to promote Sam's Big Day, which was a show that Sam did at the Annoyance Brooklyn. And it features Sam replacing words in famous movie quotes with Big Day. And a bunch of like great visual, like sparkles come out of the shower head. But it's like, Luke, I am your big day. Like that kind of thing. Like this one's not in it, but it's like life is like a big day.
The Annoyance, which was directed by Annie
Yeah,
Donnelly.
the Annoyance NYC was, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's probably the same one.
Probably. Our next thing is Next Big Thing, which is where we saw Eudora just now. This was streamed live on July 18th, 2019 from the green space at WNYC and WQXR. Zue Fumdo?
I know Ziwe because Ziwe said that.
Yeah.
She and Sam introduced each other as each other's names.
Yeah.
It was a really fun episode. The next big thing is a show the show that's described as the place to see the adventurous, awe-inspiring, and absurd performers who are redefining New York City's cultural imprint.
And it's really fun because we got to see Sam like do stand-up.
Yeah.
And we also got to see him like kind of be a character. We got to see Yue be like very character.
You mean Eudora?
Yes. Oh, I'm so sorry. I mixed up Yue and Eudora.
Yeah, Eudora.
Yue. I miss my friend Yue. Okay, sorry. I like remembered a friend that I had from college. Yeah. So it was really cool, and I want to watch more episodes of it, honestly. There are different hosts every time.
Yeah, from what I could tell, it seems like it's a different host every time. Ophira Eisenberg hosted another one. It doesn't look like there's that many. It looks like it's one of those sort of every so often we do a community event things.
Mm-hmm.
But it's cool. It's interesting because on paper it seems like CGP would have more similarities because both are about demonstrating the greatness that is underground comedy in New York. But because
there's production restraints.
But there's
on
production
this one.
restraints, and it's not the same. But
It's like, you're in a theater with a microphone and like a piano, and there's like a couple of cameras. Like that's like the deal. That's the space. Not like
not giving
CGP,
a full,
which is like, we don't fucking know.
No, yeah.
Like, let's throw fucking frogs at it and make just things, blinking eyes that open and close.
But that's what was interesting, was seeing a show that like describes itself and similarly and has a similar goal, but takes such a different angle on
That's
production.
WNYC and WQXR aren't hiring Jersey motherfucking Dave.
I mean, Jersey Dave is definitely a huge reason why CGP is able to be so much more fully fledged in its production.
Yeah. Entirely. Fuck. So yeah, it was really fun. It was a really fun show. Eudora Peterson was in some videos that Sam and Max had made to promote the Lawyers at Law show.
Yeah.
As other lawyers.
And we'll talk more about those later on. But yeah, Eudora is great.
Yeah. Our fifth thing that we loved is Fell in Love on Halloween, which was posted on October 30th, 2019. It is a beautiful ballad about falling in love with an off-brand video game hero.
I remember when Sam tweeted out this video, and I just lost it on the bus watching it, because it's so well done. Like, he sings it so soulfully, but then he's making references to kidnapped Princess Fruit
And the super Sicilian sibling guys.
Yeah. Like, it's just the commitment to it really, I think, is what helps make it work so well. Because there's no, like, the lyrics are funny, but Sam is delivering it so straight.
Yeah.
That, like, you could
It's
just
almost
so
be
good.
tricked
Yeah.
into thinking you're just hearing a ballad.
If the lyrics weren't so funny.
Yeah. I'm so about all this musical comedy.
Yeah, and I had no idea.
Friends have.
I had no idea that it was such an essential thing not essential, but like such a big part of Sam's comedy.
Yeah.
Because we haven't seen him do it on CGP yet.
No.
And I wonder if we will at Lawyers at Large. We'll have to wait
Lawyers
and
at
see.
Law.
Oh my goodness.
Lawyers at Law.
I'm
Forrest.
sorry. It's Lawyers. It's Super Monday, okay?
It is Super
It's
Monday.
a fake holiday. So I will use it to justify forgetting the name of the show I have Googled so many times this week.
But you know what? It won't excuse
What?
the next
Oh, yeah.
video, Sex Like a Sports Game, another musical comedy masterpiece, posted October 3rd, 2018, featuring CGP's own Nick Nanny, that dude who's dating Claire O'Kane.
Yes, and who was on Enchanted Pumice and was on Ghoul Train as the upstairs neighbor who's mad at the party for making too much noise.
And in this one, Sam plays a frustrated boyfriend who hates that his boyfriend pays more attention to sports than to him. And so he writes a song to help show his boyfriend that he is into his interests.
And he is as interesting as any.
Yeah, and how
Sex.
he knows so many things about sports.
And this was written and performed by Sam Taggart and, once again, directed by Sisters Weekend.
And edited by them.
Sisters Weekend as well. Yes.
VFX by Misha Townsend. Fuck yeah, Misha Townsend. Oh my God. I remember being like, all right, we got to remember that fucking name because the VFX on this shit is awesome.
Yeah, the VFX were really good. And then it's featuring Sam, Nick, Justin Dean, Joel Brucklander, and Sisters Weekend themselves are in this video.
Themselves. Music by Ben Kling, but I'm sure that Sam had a hand in the lyrics.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
If he didn't write all of the lyrics, I didn't even notice that there was a music by.
And Ben Kling.
But Ben Kling's probably badass.
Well, we've mentioned Ben Kling before.
We have?
On the Little Green Guys episode. Ben Kling did the story, illustration, music, and title design for Reader's River, The Green Who Took Christmas All Away.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. You mean like my favorite Christmas thing to happen? We need a Christmas list, okay? It's The Green Who Stole All of Christmas Away.
Mm-hmm.
We have
Joe Rumrill's Christmas to-do list.
We have the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer at the club. Is that what it's called? Am I going crazy?
It's called Xmas Song.
Xmas song. We need Xmas song. Yes. But yeah, so that it's great. Skating is a sport, and so their sex is like skating.
I loved that one.
I
so
just had
much.
like 12 like really too personal dirty jokes go through my head at the same time.
Well, then we better move on to our next thing, Dagmar, which I loved, and this was posted August 25th, 2016. And Sam wrote and stars in this video, and Julio Torres of the Chris Gethard Show, and everything you know him from.
And just
At
being
Los
like
Spookies,
famous.
being a space prince, all of those things. Appears as Sam's opponent. Dagmar, in the video we learn, is from Cleveland, which should make some of the Discord very happy.
This is a Street Fighter parody video. We have the Street Fighter Dagmar.
Yes.
He suffers with crippling social anxiety.
And Sam delivers his dialogue like he's a dubbed over fighting game character. And there's even the like, ha, 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 interspersed. And Dagmar actually appeared in one of Mary Houlihan's live shows.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was where I first saw Dagmar, not realizing that this video existed. And I immediately fell in love with the idea of Sam playing fighting game characters. And I would, if any enterprising developers are out there and want to make a CGP fighting game, if you have Dagmar in it, that would be amazing. And I will always play Dagmar.
All right, what motherfuckers in college on the Discord and can get some credit for this? Like, who's going to make this game? I want this motherfucking game. I don't play video games, but I will watch this video game.
If you want to make it, you should reach out to Steven DeSena, who did the music, who also does the music on Cartoon Monsoon with Mary Houlihan and Joe Rumrell.
Fuck yes. The 8th thing that we love from Sam Taggart is Sam Taggart stand-up. There's a whole video of him performing at the Stand in 2016. And he translates his dad's straight dad jokes, like, because they're dad jokes, but they're like straight guy dad jokes. So he translates them into gay versions. Like comparing going to Fire Island to when your dad makes you smoke a whole pack of cigarettes. It's just like so much.
Well, and I love how that joke is written in such a way that even if you don't get the Fire Island reference, as soon as the dad cigarettes thing comes, you're like, oh yeah, no, now I get it. Now I get it.
There's a lot of gay.
Yeah, that's basically
a lot of gay. Like, I don't even know.
I barely know what it means, what he's referencing.
Right.
But I think I get it from context clues.
I don't know that I want to go to a heterosexual Fire Island. I feel like that's just The Bachelor.
I mean, I don't.
Temptation Island. Ooh, have you seen that reality show?
I don't want to go
It's
there
awful.
though. But he also, speaking of awful things, has another great quote about an awful reality of the world we live in, which is, I think it's fucked up that we treat corporations like people, but if we're going to do that, we can at least treat small businesses like little babies.
Which is just the best motherfucking line.
It's such a good line.
Oh man, I fucking love that.
And then he has also appeared on Mary Houlihan's Lil podcast. He was on 3 episodes that stitched together to tell an entire arc.
A beautiful story.
It's a beautiful story.
A tale as old as time.
It is one of the oldest stories in many ways.
Yeah. So it starts with, we love having sex and we're not ashamed of it. Posted on May 18th, 2018. And the characters are putting on a show about being super sexually experienced, you guys. They're so sexually experienced. Like, you shouldn't even question how sexually experienced they are.
And they're
seem so sexually experienced, you guys. Oh my God.
They seem like those teenagers who do that, where they are like, oh, I totally have all of the sex. Yes.
Yeah, I stuck my penis in her belly button.
Yeah.
That's what sex is.
Like
There's a
part of it where they're like, talking about like, well, sometimes you need like products to like make the sex easier, like the powders.
Yep.
Oh yeah, the powders. I know the powders.
Yep, all those powders for sex.
And like, there's a line that from Sam, which is talking about going to Niagara Falls, and it's me and my partners. We railed there. And Joe Cilio, the producer and co-founder of Forever Dog, interrupts the show and outs them as sexually inexperienced. And there you go. They decide that that's not a problem because virgins deserve a show about just how cool virginity is.
So that is the second show
Yes.
that he appears in. We are virgins and we're not ashamed of it. Posted May 25th, 2018, where they discuss how society's way too down on being a virgin. And being a virgin is actually super cool.
But Mary, at the beginning of the episode, is a little bit reserved. Something feels a little bit off, like maybe she's covering up a secret. And she is, because she's not a virgin anymore, because she had sex with a man named Gerald. Gerald took the lead. She didn't even tell him he was a virgin. She doesn't think he knows.
She went to Gerald? And so becoming sexually active actually completely transforms her personality, her life.
She's bored of talking like she did before she had sex. She's embarrassed by who she was.
Yeah. Don't you know that when you have sex, you become an entirely different person?
Well, now everything reminds her of sex, so she can't talk about anything else because it's the foundation of her life now.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, that's what happens when a human has sex with another human.
And I learned a great fact, which is that apparently having sex raises your IQ by 1 point every time, each time. And then if you have sex with an ugly person, your IQ goes up 2 points.
Oh, man. I would have I'm like, which of my exes do I want to insult right now?
See, that's why Big Pretty keeps that underground and doesn't want us to know the truth.
Pretty?
Big Pretty doesn't want us to know the truth about these sex IQ raises.
I helped so many dudes pass college. Oh my God. Oh no, wait, the opposite. Because my IQ would be raised by having sex with ugly people. So I was suggesting that I was an ugly person that dudes were having sex with to increase their IQ.
Well, it's a mutually beneficial relationship because everyone's whenever you have sex, your IQ goes up by at least 1 point.
Yeah.
It goes up by an additional point if you have sex with an ugly person. So you never go down. It never brings your IQ down.
So what I should be saying is that's why I'm so smart.
Right. You're not sacrificing your IQ points to them. It's not like Rey to that snake in Rise of Skywalker, where she heals the snake by giving her life force. It's not like that.
The snake?
Yeah, there's a snake in Rise of Skywalker.
He was also getting divorced at the time.
No, yes, but there was also a snake.
Oh, shit, there was an
actual snake. I wasn't calling...
Spoilers, Forrest. Spoilers about the snake.
That's why I said snake.
Snakes are pretty cool.
They're almost as bad as rats, but...
Yeah. So the episode ends, of course, with a pact to get Sam laid. And we go on to the third episode. We had sex a little too many times, and we're not ashamed of it. Posted June 1st, 2018.
And now Sam is not a virgin either. He had sex with a very hairy up-and-coming artist.
And sex is really fun, and he now sees the world in color.
And Mary is smarter than in the last episode because she had sex with Picasso, and his eyes aren't even level. One of them is like way higher than the other.
Yeah.
And Sam is embarrassed about the virgin he once was as well. I'm sorry, I'm just getting choked up. Remembering that I used to be that way.
It's okay, Forrest. I don't think less of you because you were at one point a virgin.
Thank you.
So Mary's now dating a bunch of artists.
Like Matisse.
Oh, yeah. Like the 1998 New Jersey Mets. Nets?
Yes, the New Jersey Nets. They were the basketball team in New Jersey. They are now owned by Jay-Z and are the Brooklyn Nets.
This is a real thing?
Yeah, so they had to clarify.
They're nothing but Nets.
She said, she said she was with the New Jersey Nets. And they're like, but that doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, I know. It's the 1998 New Jersey Nets. And Sam is going to sex parties with, quote, a community of people railing constantly. And then it seems like maybe they're having too much sex, which Joe from Forever Dog is also worried about.
Because it doesn't sound like they're having safe sex.
No, and he asks them, are you using condoms? And they're both like, what's a condom?
It does not matter how much sex you're having. It only matters that it is safe for all parties involved.
Exactly. And so the show isn't a good fit for Forever Dog.
Nope.
And so he pitches them a couple other ideas, like talking about commercials because they're clearly passionate about them because they made a lot of references to commercials throughout this series. And yeah, That's the end of their not being ashamed of how much sex they are or are not having.
And that's the end of our list of things that we love from Sam Taggart alone.
It's the end of the list that we're talking about. There are many more
that we like wildly pared down.
Yeah.
And now for another list that we wildly pared down.
Very paired.
Max Wittert. This is his bio from the live version of Taggart and Wittert. Max Wittert is a comedian and cartoonist. What? A cartoonist? A cartoonist? From L.A. His work has been featured on BuzzFeed and in The New Yorker. He has produced a short cartoon for Nickelodeon, which is on YouTube and is adorable, and has a recurring role on the HBO show High Maintenance.
Yeah.
Max is the co-host of the monthly show Get Real, spelled like a fishing
like
reel.
A movie reel.
Or a fishing reel.
I love that that's where we each went to.
Spectacle Theater in Brooklyn, and co-hosts the podcast So Fascinating. I did say correctly.
You did. That
fascinating.
Is so fascinating.
So here's some stuff we love.
Yes. The first is a set that we get to see him do at a comedy club from March 2018, and it's also musical comedy.
It's titled Club Comic Set.
Well, yeah. The video is titled 01 Club Comic Max Wittert.
Mm-hmm.
And Max opens the set in a trench coat that got mentioned on So Fascinating.
And then he transforms into drag so that he feels a little more comfortable.
And then sings a song about being a natural blonde.
And it's paired with like this incredible like PowerPoint thing that he keeps jumping to of these cartoons. And we were watching this and I'm like, damn, those are like awesome illustrations and they're really, really funny. And then we're like, oh no, this motherfucker like is an artist.
Yeah, no, he definitely did all of those. And they are all so good. Like to the point that given our recurring thing of doing fan art for all the CGP episodes, I was like, oh no.
Yeah, this is like actually humiliating.
I have to like
like how good of an artist he is,
he's
and
so
how
good.
we have to make art about him. We don't have to. We want to. But it is also humiliating.
I'm very excited too because it did make me go, well, I gotta really like be creative with my take this week. I'm always trying to be, but there's that extra like, no, they're an artist. They're he's a
yes, it's about how he's a blonde and the types of things that happen when you're blonde.
And then the second song is a parody of Fergalicious and is performed out of drag. And the song is called Fergatrocious, and it's all about just being gross. And it's a sing-along, so he puts all the lyrics on screen underneath the presentation, so the audience can like enjoy themselves and take part.
It's beautiful.
It's so good.
That also belongs on Planet Scum on
it does.
K-Scum Radio.
And it was funny because I didn't realize I remembered the beat to Fergalicious. And then it started and I was like, oh, this is a parody of Fergalicious. Oh, I remember Fergalicious. Huh.
The second thing that we love is that podcast, So Fascinating. It's been running since May 2018. And it's the show that unites comedy and fashion to make a talking style approachable. That's hot.
Hosts Ruby McAllister and Max Wittert are New York-based comedians, fashion lovers, and ex-ballerinas. Each episode, they are joined by celebrity guests to talk about how clothing affects people personally and explore the various and strong opinions we have about style.
And it's super fun.
Yeah.
All of the episodes are super fun. It's really interesting. The latest one, they go into like this whole thing about pop culture and the ways that it affects our psyches as individuals, just kind of in the world, and why certain people are drawn to a kind of explosive presentation, like people in drag, people who drag as Cher, as Madonna, as celebrities, as I think it was Cheryl Stone is who they were talking about specifically.
Hmm.
So I was like, whoa. And it was very interesting.
I'll have to listen to that one. I didn't get a chance to hear that specific one, and that sounds fascinating.
Yeah.
Fascinating,
It's
even.
fascinating. Yeah, it's a really fun pod. An episode that we also really loved was where they talked to Julio Torres.
That was so great. I loved the sketch that they do in part of it where they do the whole ceremony.
They do the whole ceremony?
Yeah, where they resurrect the pants.
Oh, yeah. So they do a summoning, like a cult ceremony where they summon the individual, the spirit who once inhabited the vintage clothing.
Yeah.
That is being worn.
And Max happens to get knocked out during this whole part.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. So Max missed it, but a ghost appears.
Yeah. A ghost appears, talks about wearing flared pants in the 70s.
Being on the road in the 70s is the roadie, essentially. They don't use that word, but they followed bands around.
Yeah. And yeah, there was like really cool stuff about, they sort of came up, I think, together, Julio and Max.
It sounded like it,
It sounded like it. And so it was really interesting hearing about, they were talking about their comedy styles when they started and how that related to their fashion choices.
And like how Max initially wore a trench coat when he started that was closed.
Yeah.
And like he would come up on stage with a backpack and everything. And then over time sort of opened up, relaxed, didn't have the backpack as much. Wears a trench coat, but wears it open.
Yeah. And started wearing other stuff. He went blonde because he and Julio share a hairdresser who was like, no, you both need to be blonde. They look fucking amazing blonde, to be honest. Yeah.
But I think it's really interesting, and it's a part of the stand-up comedy and being a comedian that you don't get to hear discussed as much, because like that presentation just is a key part of it, but you don't hear it openly talked about.
And it's actually, at least in San Francisco, there is a thing about comedians where they're casual, you know? Like, everyone's dressed, like, super casually.
Yeah.
Like, to the point where they almost look like they're dressed the same. Like, seeing someone in a fucking, like, sport coat stands out because of how specifically, like, no, we gotta be, like, really casual and, like, San Francisco, like, non-obtrusive. I think that's what...
I think that's part of it.
Lots of hoodies.
Yeah, but I don't know that it's because... I don't know if it's out of a desire to be unobtrusive or just a reflection of the city's overall, like,
casual nature.
Like, I don't know if it's comedians deciding that they should be unobtrusive because they're going to be on stage, as much as just the San Francisco has that fashion culture in general where, like, you don't see as many people dressing super colorfully or in something more striking. It's a lot of like, here's a puffy black jacket or a vest and black jeans. Like, I'm part of this. I dress that way too. But
gray, black, dark purple, maroon.
Yeah. So I think it's also just that. And then also a lot of the comedians are coming from a day job where they're like, well, no, this is how I'm dressed in the office. So this is how I'm going to be dressed.
I now really want to talk to comedians about how they choose what they wear before getting on stage.
That could be a cool thing.
And the third thing that we love is Best Baddies. This is the animated short created by Max Wittert for Nickelodeon. And this was posted February 13th, 2018. I think that was a Friday the 13th.
I'll trust you on that. You are more likely to remember that than I am.
The character design is fucking adorable. It's sort of like kids show style.
It was a Tuesday.
Sorry,
I knew I said I trust you, but then I was like, but if it's true that it's gonna be so good.
Yeah, that's true. But it's okay.
Sorry,
I accept being wrong on occasion.
I had to keep the canon.
You did. It's so much fun. It's about like a little like troop of witches.
Yeah.
And they're like trying to convince a little Girl Scout to like be a witch with them, like for badges. And they get into like these like amazing little hijinks set to music.
And I love, there's at least one aside in it about how a certain witch's new look will transition easily from day to night.
Yeah.
And I loved that aside because now knowing more about Max's wheelhouse, I'm like, yeah, that is a Max Wittert aside to throw in this Nickelodeon cartoon.
The fourth thing that we love, speaking of fashion and Lorelai Ramirez, it's the pre-fall fashion Olympics. This is a series of like 3 videos.
I love this series so much.
Yeah, and Julio Torres also wrote for it. Max stars in it alongside Lorelai Ramirez. Anna Fabrega is in a bunch of it. And it is...
and Julio is also in a couple of them.
Yeah, and basically it's like the Olympics, but for models doing model things, like flipping their hair back and like taking off their scarves, and everyone is dressed incredibly. Lorelai is dressed in all these ridiculous things and has this like very chill tone, and it's very monotone almost. They look like someone who I am sure one would see like commenting on these kinds of fashion model-y business. It's just absurd. It's glorious to look at.
Everyone in it, at least the fashion people in it, look like they're from the Capitol in the Hunger Games.
Yes.
To me, like I got high fashion vibes in general, but also very specifically Capitol vibes, which given the tone of all of it and the evil plan laps is very fitting.
Yeah. Where they were judging the competition where the model would have to go and explain an evil plan to the referee and try not to get too dizzy.
It was Anna in that one.
Yeah, Anna Fabrega.
And these were all directed by Sisters Weekend once again.
Oh, hey, sisters. Yeah. And the next thing that we loved...
and that was made for Mas Mejor, as was the next thing.
Mas Mejor has all these freaking amazing videos.
Yeah.
That we didn't even know they existed. Diego and Valentina. Max appears in this web series alongside Julio Torres, who plays Diego, and Veronica Osorio, who plays Valentina, and Lena Einbinder.
From the special without Brett Davis.
And weren't they in actors?
Yeah,
with Lorelai Ramirez and Christy Cello. So Julio and Veronica wrote this series, and it's about Valentina, who's an extremely rich woman from Venezuela.
Yeah, Venezuela.
She hires Diego to be her personal assistant as she gets accustomed to life in New York.
And to be personal assistant means a lot of very, very mundane tasks, which is
like fitting
key.
Things into clutches.
One of them was like putting photos from her black iPad to her white iPad, and while she demonstrates it, she just like slams the iPad together. And then there are also other CGP cameos in it. Sam Taggart appears as a guy on a date with Diego, and it's a minor role, but Sam nails it.
Lorelai plays a TV doctor who is Valentina's godfather and also Valentina's sister.
Yes.
Eliza Hurwitz from Enchanted Pumice, of course, and Little Green Guys is also there.
And as we mentioned, Anna Fabrega is also in it. But then Max plays Candle, who is friends with Diego and is a very, very fashionable man in this. He has a cape and a Star of David necklace, which is
why he's named Candle, because it's a Jewish name.
And he, on episode 3, Candle like roasts Valentina so perfectly.
Because Valentina is very basic. That's the deal with Valentina. There's
like a running gag where everyone's like, "Oh, I love your whole normcore thing."
And she's like, "Oh,
people keep telling me that." And he compares her to a human frappuccino and to like something with Nutella on it.
An Ugg boot filled with Nutella.
That's what it was. That's so good. And then like a Nordstrom window display that's too...
I'm
so bad at this.
Old Anthropology display. That's because you didn't hang out with basic bitches.
No, it's because I didn't go to clothing stores.
Yeah, or schools with a ton of basic bitches. I love basic bitches. Basic bitches make the world go round. But Candle...
Yeah, Candle...
also appears on Mary Houlihan's little podcast, The Fashion Patrol. And Candle is a member of the Fashion Patrol. So, like, Mary, Tony Zarette, and Candle, Max Wittert, look at pictures of celebrities and critique their fashion choices.
And Tony Zarette plays Angelino Jolie in Fashion Patrol. And in this video, in this podcast, I should say, they look at, I think they actually looked at pictures of celebrities and then roasted their fashion choices, a la Fashion Police.
Mm-hmm.
But there are a couple times where I'm like, I can't tell if there's actually an image in front of them or if they're all just so good at this that they're just like nailing.
I honestly would not be surprised.
I think there's a picture.
If either of those things were true.
Yeah.
The next thing that we love is Get Real. Get Real, it's a comedy show hosted by Max and Joe Castle-Baker.
And it's a comedy show for movie lovers and movie haters alike that features clips from well-known films appropriated into comedic routines by New York's hottest, physically and career-wise, comedians. Every month is a different theme. Shows in the past have included Culture of the Cosmos, Once Upon a Reel, Unholy Communion, Criminal Intent, Orphan's Wish, and Real Love.
And there's some videos related to it online, like kind of showing what that show is like. And it's, so they demonstrated the format by talking over a clip from The Matrix.
And that's the clip in the intro about it being an old Yiddish, like, what was it, parable? Like, that part was from that video because that was their dub over of the Oracle and Neo talking.
Yeah. They're amazing. This is like that game from, Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yeah.
But it's with our favorite current people who are doing awesome current things.
And there's a video that they posted on Vimeo where they explain Get Real, and as they cut through it, they just switch costumes into various characters.
Oh, it's incredible. Oh my God. Which makes me think, like, if you go to this show, you're going to see some excellent motherfucking costumes.
Oh yeah, because...
Oh my God. All of these costumes in all of these videos, they're just a delight to behold.
And it is my understanding that Max and Joe Castle-Baker host the show in character based on the theme as well. So it just sounds so good.
Yeah.
And they have a great use of TBS. Very funny in the promo video that I will let you find for yourselves because I love that joke still. One of the ways that I show my age, that and podcatchers.
Number 8. Also, Max can motherfucking draw.
Yeah, he also recently realized this on November 9th, 2019, where Max tweeted, "LOL, I spend so much time doing other shit that I forgot I can, like, actually draw." And the image attached is, like, a beautiful, very realistic, like, ballpoint pen. It looks like line drawing of people's feet on a plane or the subway.
Yeah.
And it's gorgeous. It's like, technically well done and just looks great.
And not only can he just actually draw, he drew like a bunch of viral motherfucking comics that we were reading when they came out just because they're like hilarious and they went fucking viral. And they were everywhere.
His comics are the 9th thing. And the first one is Gene and Scott, which is the one that went super viral. Like, BuzzFeed picked it up. We saw it for sale at our local comic book store.
And we're like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever.
I loved it, yeah. And so Gene and Scott comics were posted between 2014 and 2019 on his Tumblr. And they're hilarious comics where Gene and Scott use their uncanny powers in domestic squabbles.
And it's mostly Gene being a total bitch.
Oh, yeah. It's
in like the best way.
No, it's Gene being a total like drama queen who causes all of these problems, which is honestly basically just what if you took a character from the Chris Claremont run of X-Men and put them in situations with actual humans? Because like that run is so filled with melodrama, and it's like, so what if they took the melodrama from that run and it was over Jenga?
Yeah.
And like not remembering passwords.
Yeah.
Like she uses Cerebro to try to get a login from him.
Like while he's playing cards with other dudes.
Yeah. And
he's just looking off like, why the fuck are you using Cerebro for this?
And the Phoenix is like her go-to, like, I'm in a situation that it's her go-to get out of awkward situations cards. Just like, it's the Phoenix.
Scott's like, why did you buy this really expensive purse? And she's like, I didn't buy it. And he's like, Jean. She's like, it was the Phoenix.
Or she gets like
The
too
Phoenix
drunk
stole.
and people try to cut her off of their ex-nog because she's had enough. And they're like, she's like, yes, well then you'll have to take it from the Phoenix.
Passes
And
out.
just passes out. I love these. I loved these before I knew who Max was.
Yeah.
But it's even cooler now that I know who he is. So I can like see him in it.
And his style is so cool. And this is like a style throughout his comics.
Mm-hmm.
The colors are really great. He does this thing where they're like line drawings of like humans, and it's slightly simplified, but like it's this wonderful muted pastel, but also like vibrant tones and like weird skin colors for people, which I don't know why. I love it when people are purple and green, but I do. It just makes me happy.
Another one we liked is when he takes pity on tall people on the subway.
Yeah, because it's pretty sad that they only live to be about 9 or 10.
And it's just, I don't want to like
Just
ruin
read
all these, but
comics.
we're going to link to a bunch of them in the show notes.
This is a visual medium,
Like-
and this is an audio medium.
Yeah.
Go look at the visual things with your eyes. I apologize. I always hate it when podcasts are like, or especially audiobooks, are like, and now we're going to talk in depth about this particular visual medium. That's what a thing about fashion podcasts, like fashion history, that get annoying because I'm like, I need to see this.
Yeah.
And then I'm sitting in or jogging or like sitting in the car, like I can't.
Yeah.
I'm listening to a thing so that I don't use my hands, but I want to see the thing. So I apologize. But y'all
That's why-
motherfuckers have to look this up.
Yeah, that's why we're going to have the links in our show notes so you can get to them easily yourselves.
Yup. And they're all amazing. So check them out.
And then we have 3 things from both of them together that we want to highlight.
Both Taggart and Wittert.
Yes, both lawyers
lawyers
at law.
The lawyers at law themselves. They've done a lot of things together.
Yeah.
They have been on a lot of the same shows. And we want to share with you what exists already online about lawyers at law.
And so, so some of the videos. So
They're
there's
all
a
on
whole,
Vimeo.
Yeah, all 4 videos are on Vimeo. All 4 that we could find are on Vimeo. And there's an arc to these as well. The first one is a great parody of personal injury lawyer ads like you'd see on daytime TV. Some of the quotes from the CGP promo they did, I think actually originated from this version of the clip.
It really does feel like it could stand alone as a funny video.
Yeah, I assumed when I first saw it, because like I missed the part whatever in the title, I was like, this feels complete.
Yeah.
They must just be 4 videos that aren't related at all.
Yeah.
But I was wrong.
You were wrong. Instead, we get to learn about a possible schism between the lawyers at law.
I mean, you hate to see it, but sometimes there is just tension in the law office.
Sometimes. We get to see Sam Taggart out on his own reading How to Kill a Mockingbird and offering deep tissue legal treatments.
Yeah, I love that quote so
Yeah.
much. And then in part 4 of this series, we get to see Ted and Diana, attorneys at law. They're rival attorneys, played in this version by Carmen Christopher and Eudora Peterson.
Oh, hey.
Eudora's probably playing Diana.
Yep.
On the live version, and I'm so excited. But I'm wondering if Carmen will hop on out to be Ted, or if someone else will be Ted, because we'll have to watch CGP to find out, I suppose.
We will. And I really want to talk about this second one because this is the best thing that I have seen.
Oh, Hee Haw Gay is definitely the one to delve
Hee-haw
into.
gay. Hee-haw gay, friends. Hee-haw gay.
So I to give background before we delve into it, I've seen Hee Haw, as we talked about on the Talkadoodle-Doo episode.
And y'all have kind of seen Hee-haw by watching Talkadoodle-Doo.
Yeah, Talkadoodle-Doo has some style parody stuff about Hee Haw, which is the premise is it was basically a sketch show for people who felt like Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In was too urban like too urban comment, like not as a euphemism, just like too liberal and too citified and political.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Okay.
Laugh-In?
Laugh-In was another sketch comedy show.
Ah.
I realize if you don't know you probably don't know Laugh-In. One of the recurring bits, it was basically comedy for country people.
And it's just country jokes. They laugh and pretend
they'd stand in a cornfield and
Yeah.
pop up, do a setup and a punchline, go down, the next person would pop up. And I think that was parodied in Taco Doodle-Doo.
Yeah.
But
it's just a funny bit.
It's also just a funny bit. It's
in BoJack Horseman too.
Right. And they also would have country music stars come on to perform.
Yeah. So the premise of Hee Haw Gay is that Hee Haw needs to start targeting gay audiences to make Hee Haw more relevant and inclusive.
And the episode features Max, Sam, Cole Escola of the National Lampoon Radio Hour,
Hi.
Get Real's Joe Castle Baker,
Hi.
and more.
And so it starts out pretty goofy, nice parody of Hee Haw. And we're enjoying ourselves. Forrest and I are sitting there enjoying ourselves. And then suddenly, Sam Taggart starts quoting Camus.
Yeah, as the character Brussels Sprout.
Just starts talking about just our characters just start talking about existential dread. They just kind of go down a rabbit hole staring into the void and seeing the void stare back at them. They wonder why they are there and what they are doing. Oh my God, it's so good.
Yeah, no, I mean, a parody of an obscure-ish old television comedy format wrapped in existentialist theory and opinions and jokes is right for me.
And there is a lot before it starts getting existential.
Yeah.
That's just like my favorite part because I'm that kind of weird emo teenager.
Yeah, it's to the point that I thought the joke was going to be that it was a Hee Haw episode that was all the cornfield jokes, and the
just
cornfield jokes turned gayer.
Yeah, just gayer and gayer.
Like Max has a quote where, as his character Merle, where he says, "What's the fastest way to get a gay guy to Mars? Tell him there's a sample sale.
Oh,
waka waka waka."
waka.
Because like Hee Haw was big on waka waka comedy. Like it's peak waka waka.
They didn't have to waka very far for those punchlines. Oh.
There's a joke about Club Cumming, which is part of a letter that Sam's brother sent to him, and it's like over the music that Ken Burns uses in his Civil War documentaries while the letters are being read. So I looked it up. I looked up that Club Cumming is a real bar actually owned by Alan Cumming, which I'm not really sharing. I'm just sharing because I think it's a wonderful fact that we live in a world where Alan Cumming bought a bar and is like, I'm going to call it Club Cumming. That's hilarious.
It is hilarious. But also, shit gets dark. Shit gets existential. You get to see Max be a fucking madman.
Oh, yeah. And his character has a dark undercurrent the whole time.
But then, like, there's this whole long part at the end of the episode where it's just him churning butter. And it is simultaneously the most hilarious and disturbing thing I have ever seen. And we went down a Lorelai Ramirez rabbit hole.
Yeah. No,
I can see why they are friends.
Absolutely. No, I see why all three of them are friends. And it makes me curious how dark we're going to get with Lawyers at Law.
I don't think we're going to go dark enough.
We're not going there. But
for me, but I also read The Plague by Camus. I finished it. You know what it feels like when you finish The Plague by Camus?
Bad.
Like you've been through a motherfucking plague.
Oh, and this episode was written by Brett Davis.
Yes.
And not,
Yeah. So
and it has that trademark darkness.
Oh my God. But it's amazing. And you get to it's so batshit. It's so wonderful and batshit. You get to see Sam Taggart. Sam Taggart basically brings on the existential despair. And then Max, through his insanity, brings everyone back.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it gets so frightening in that comedy way. This whole episode. It's almost like what's that movie with the freaks? One of us. Freaks
is the movie with the freaks. You know that movie with the freaks?
Yeah.
Freaks.
And how it's it's like disturbing, but also has like this immense pathos, but like visually it's just haunting. Like that, the performances, things these motherfuckers are doing with their faces.
No,
who's Brett's co-host in this?
That's what I'm trying to. He plays Big Baby on the special without Brett Davis, but I'm having a total brain fart.
Yeah, no, you definitely knew this person's name.
I know his name. I see Big Baby in my head right now.
Oh my God, this human will haunt my dreams. He will actually haunt my dreams.
Oh, he
like in the best possible way.
Yeah, no, it's exact. I mean the haunting of your dreams is absolutely the intended result of this, but he commits to the madness so hard.
Like this is it's
Darren Maybe.
So there's a thing with horror and comedy. I had a professor at school and he worked in horror movies, but he loved comedy movies. And he was like, all right, guys, like it's my last lecture. We're just going to talk about why I love horror and comedy for like an hour. And it was the best thing ever. This episode is that entire spectrum.
Absolutely. And that's part of why I think that's part of why Hee Haw works so perfectly as the comedy part, because Hee Haw is blandest, but it's also the bland, like purest, least, it's not saying anything interesting.
Not at all, but everyone's just dying of laughter. And then things turn so existentially disturbing.
Yeah.
Like so existentially disturbing. There is just a strain of beautiful insanity. Cole Escola scared the fuck out of me.
Cole is so good in this episode too.
Holy balls. Cole Escola is Granny.
Yeah.
And you don't really think that Granny's that scary until you see Granny interact with Max.
Yeah, and Granny, the faces that Cole Escola makes as Granny are just like, oh.
And you're like,
haunting.
Holy shit. He's like churning the butter. And then he's like getting more and more intense and he's crying and he can't churn the butter. And then Granny comes over and smacks him in the face and churning the butter. And you're like, there is so much happening right now and no words are being said.
But when Max starts churning the butter, Max is like crying and saying jokes to himself too.
Yeah.
Because like they throw to it as a comedy bit and then he's like clearly breaking down and falling apart.
And like trying
to keep it together and trying to do the joke, but can't do the joke. Like there's so many layers to Max's performance in this. And to the whole show, but it's so great.
It has just that, it's so wonderful. So I love the weird of Julio Torres. Like Julio Torres represented for me like the weird, you know, whenever I thought about like this alti scene. I didn't know if or how he connected to all of these motherfuckers that we have been following and watching.
I didn't either.
Clearly, yes.
Absolutely.
And clearly it's from like this beautiful like I see in my mind, and this may not be true whatsoever, but like he and Lorelai like are standing as like these figures, these deity figures of like the strange and horrible.
I think so. And I mean, I think
also glorious.
I also think that the special helped link a lot of that. I don't know, but like the special is also, they all that group have also often been on the special.
Yeah.
And it has that, like the special has that darker edge.
And I would have never thought that Sam Taggart would be on that side because he's just this bubbling, bright spot. He's like a super gay Joe Rumble.
No, yeah.
Like just adorable. Just like you want to pinch their cheeks. Like all they are is like chaos magic, but in like the happiest, bubbliest way. And then he's like talking about existential despair and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know this is what I needed, but this is what the world needs.
Yeah.
And like he and Max create just like this amazing, like just creative bomb juice. I don't even know if I'm coherent anymore. I'm literally just thinking about Max churning that butter.
But I mean, I was also surprised to find Sam in so many of these things because Sam's persona, like you say, is such a, at least from what we've seen, is pretty consistently upbeat, happy persona.
Yeah.
Now that persona works great when you can contrast it against the darkness.
The existential dread.
Yeah. So like I think
it's the other side of whimsy.
Yeah. Like it makes sense to me now. What?
Sorry, I'm thinking about like the spectrum between like whimsy and existential dread and then comparing it in my head to like the standard like set 'em up, knock 'em down like club comedy jokes, and on the other end of that spectrum is like body horror. Or not necessarily body horror, but like gore horror, like Saw and shit. And I don't know if that means anything because I just had four images in my head.
I don't entirely follow how those are on a spectrum. I'm sorry.
Exactly. That's okay. That's okay. I hope you all enjoyed those 4 images in your head. If you can think of some sort of philosophically resonant way to describe the spectra of topics as they relate to comedy and horror and how they can be mashed together for maximum yes, let us know.
And speaking of user interaction, we're going to talk about our final thing on this episode, which is the defunct CGP podcast, episode 10, which had Sam Taggart, Max Wittert, and Maya Sharma on episode 10 as the panel. And it had Planet Scum's own Dave Cohen as one of the callers.
And we also think
I think June
the Fox
calls in.
June the literal fox.
I think June calls in as well and has a great call. But it's a wonderful episode. In addition to being the origin of How's It Cohen, which is misspelled in the description of the episode as Cohen. It also it ties in with Complaint Box, and so it has all the behind the scenes drama, including how Max is getting angry that people aren't bringing him LaCroix.
He reveals that Nick Nanny stole his sandwich.
And Justin's bit of the week has them reenacting scenes from 6 Feet Under, despite the fact that only Max has seen any episodes of the show at all.
We also learn that Max doesn't know what a Target is. Because
they talk about how they can just get Max a mini fridge so he can have cold LaCroix at his desk and it won't be a problem. And Chris is like, yeah, I'll just go to Target. Max is like, what?
Sam correctly identifies that the Epstein-Barr virus should probably change its name to avoid being associated with Jeffrey Epstein.
Alex from Seattle
did not kill himself.
Alex from Seattle. You mean Epstein didn't kill himself?
Epstein didn't kill himself.
Alex from Seattle.
Hopefully, Alex.
She's alive. She's fine. She likes our Instagrams all the time. That's why I was just like, what are you talking about? But Alex from Seattle had a live dispatch from Planet Scum on that episode.
It was awesome.
And yeah, just definitely worth checking out, both for Planet Scum history, but also to hear Sam and Max together with Maya.
Yeah. So that's our stuff. That was a lot of things.
Yeah, it's a lot this episode.
That was 9 plus 9 plus 3.
We did 21 things this week.
We talked about 21 motherfucking things. All you motherfuckers need to do a couple things for us. We have homework for this episode.
Yeah, especially if you're listening live.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no. If you're listening live, you've missed out. If you're listening to this on K-Scum, you've probably missed out because you got to get to the pre-show.
Who's listening live?
Not live, but
like
when we're streamed.
Live.
When we're streamed, I mean. I also live isn't right. You're right. If you're listening to this via your pod.
Is someone listening to us right now?
I mean, probably. But if you're listening to this via the podcatcher, do this homework. If you're listening via K-Scum, you really should have done this homework, but get to the pre-show right now.
Yeah, but you can do this homework while the pre-show is happening, because it's look at fucking Max.
Oh, no, the comics homework.
Wittert's comics.
Definitely do either way.
You need to watch these goddamn comics. Watch them. You need to read them and look at them. You need to watch Hee Haw Gay.
Yes, definitely watch Hee Haw Gay.
You must watch Hee Haw Gay.
All of this homework is in our show notes also, so you don't have to go very far to find it.
And you need to listen to So Fascinating.
Definitely just subscribe to So Fascinating, because it's such a fun show.
It is really fun. It's making me like care about fashion in ways that I never have before. Primarily because I haven't been exposed to that world whatsoever.
But
Being
it's a fun.
in San Francisco and, you know, with the really bad case of not like other girls growing up that I needed a lot of vaccines for. I don't know.
But definitely check that out. And if you live in New York, go check out Bright Horizons, the weekly live comedy show that Sam does with Joe Rumroll, Mary Houlihan, and Eliza Hurwitz. I think Gethard's been on it. Like, people in the CGP world show up all the time. I think Purple Hat's even gone. So you might get to see Jake there.
Yeah. So, yeah, everyone get super excited. Get your legal questions ready. That is the other very, very important thing. Think about all of the things that are happening in your life that have legal consequences and get your questions ready for Taggart and Wittert, Lawyers at Law. And in addition, we've been doing a thing on the after show where we play games. And they're really fun games. And this week's game is Taggart or Braggart.
Which we also call Wittert or Fibbert.
It's, are these things that Sam and or Max have actually done? Or is it a lie that we made up?
Yeah, it should be a fun one.
It should be a fun one.
And then we also want to let you know the official snack for Lawyers at Law.
Which we learned this morning
Yes.
when the Lawyers at Law did an AMA on the Discord.
And Sam said, nothing like Triscuits on a Wednesday night. Like the jingle says, enjoy a Triscuit this Wednesday night.
Yep.
Wednesday was in caps, and that's what I was trying to capture with my performance and my reading. I hope I did. I hope I did. I hope you got it as well, listeners at home or wherever you are.
Bus.
Wherever we're in your ears.
Traffic.
Anywhere.
I mean, audio always kind of lives in the air and then as electrical signals. Really, we're just like vibrations, you know?
Yeah, man. We're just like vibrations. You think about it, like really everything. We're vibrations. The universe is vibration.
I like how you get more and more Southern.
Because I drift into Matthew McConaughey is what happens. I was definitely just drifting into the full McConaughey. I felt all right, like slipping out of my throat.
But do your motherfucking homework, learn about these incredible artists, and don't let the existential dread get you down.
Don't let the existential get you down.
Yeah. Good night and good clawn, friends. We will see you all on Wednesday for Lawyers at Law.
The only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion.